Alright, this is 4.24. Identify the precipitate, if any, that forms when the following solutions are mixed, and write the balanced equation for each reaction. So letter A, we've got some sodium acetate. Notice how acetate is written here, CH3COO. And then we're going to react it with some Hickel. So we've got an acid and then a salt coming together. Swap the cation ions right here. We're going to have the H, CH3COO. And then we're also going to have NaCl that forms. And it says identify the precipitate, so now we need to go and take a look at each of these. I've got them on the solubility rules and decide are they soluble or not. And of course all acetates are soluble, and this is a weak acid, so it is going to be aqueous. And then NaCl's got chloride in it. That means all chlorides are soluble except for silver, mercury, lead. It also has sodium in it. That's a group 1 cation, so this is also aqueous. So there's no precipitate that forms in this one. Letter B, KOH reacts with the copper nitrate, CuNO32. I can tell that copper is +2 right here because nitrate's -1. So when I swap the cations, potassium and copper, the copper is going to go with the OH, and there's going to have to be a 2 there because hydroxide's -1, and copper, of course, is +2. And then the the K is going to go with the NO3, potassium's +1, nitrate's -1, so make sure that you have just one of each of those in there. Don't carry this little 2 along for the nitrate. That's only there because copper's +2. Alright, once you have these written correctly, now you have to go and look on the solubility rules and decide whether it's soluble or not. All nitrates are soluble, so this one's going to be aqueous. Hydroxides, it says here, all hydroxides are insoluble except for group 1 and then barium, strontium, and calcium. Well, copper is not barium, strontium, calcium, so this is going to be a precipitate right here. My solid would be CuOH2. A precipitation reaction does occur. Balancing this reaction, I believe I'd need a 2 here for the 2 hydroxides and a 2 here for the 2 nitrates. That would be my balanced reaction. Last one, Na2S. CdSO4 react. Swap the cations. The Na is going to go with the SO4. Sodium's +1, sulfate's -2, so make sure that you have a 2 right here. And then the cadmium's going to go with the sulfur, so make sure to put the cation first. Cadmium's +2 in this case. Cadmium's always +2, which you probably have written on your periodic table. Cadmium's always +2. And that's going to go with the sulfide right here, which is S-2. Sulfur's in this group. It's usually almost always -2. Well, not always, but most of the time. So it's just CDS. Now we have to go through and decide whether those guys right there are soluble or not. So looking on your periodic table, all sodium salts are soluble. So this is going to be aqueous right here. And then cadmium sulfide. It says right down here all sulfides are insoluble except for those of the group 1A and 2A elements and ammonium. Well, cadmium is not in the group 1 or group 2 elements. So this is going to be a solid precipitate right here. And we have to balance the reaction. 2 and 2, cadmium 1, 1, sulfate, sulfate. Looks like we have a balanced reaction, and that is also a precipitation reaction.